Annie, what was that?
What was what?
That voice just now. What was it?
We didn't hear anything.
All right.
If you build it, he will come.
Okay, you must have heard that.
Sorry. Hey, come on in to dinner. Let's go, Pumpkin.
Boker Tov, welcome to Taste of Torah. I just shared with you that marvelous opening moments from the classic film, Field of Dreams, in which Ray, a farmer in Iowa, experiences a mysterious voice which summons him to do something radical, something ridiculous, something unpredictable, which is, of course, to build a baseball field. One of the great tearjerkers of contemporary filmmaking. I love it. It brings me to tears every time I see it. But it's also a wonderful introduction to our Torah portion for this week, which is Lech Lecha. All right, I'm not sure what happened there. Still mastering the technology of this. Anyway, so we're talking about Lech Lecha. And what does Field of Dreams have to do with that? Well, Lech Lecha is our third portion in the book of Breshit, or Genesis. And in it, we suddenly find ourselves in a close-up, not in a field in Iowa, but the camera has panned down from world events in our mythic history to a single family, and that is the family of Avram and Sarai, two people originally from the city-state of Ur in Babylonia, but now apparently living in Haran, a city in Syria, a city-state in Syria, what we would today call Syria. And Abraham, at the age of 75, gets a summons. God calls him and says, leave your city and your homeland and your family and go to a place that I will show you, you have not seen. Almost as radical as if you will build it, he will come. Not quite as ridiculous as building a baseball field, but still a pretty odd experience. And it's worth exploring. It's one of the many big ideas that happens in our Torah portion. So let me give you the outline of the Torah portion, and then let's talk about a couple of the big ideas. The outline consists of Abraham at the age of 75, his wife is 60, suddenly being called by God to go to an unknown land. Then the promise is made by God that they will be blessed, and strikingly, not only will they be blessed by doing this, but they will be a blessing to the rest of the world. Pretty extraordinary. Then what comes is a series of episodic adventures as Avram and Sarai explore this new promised land. So almost immediately they encounter a famine. They have to go further south into Egypt. There they have a series of misadventures because Avram decides to lie about his relationship to his wife. Danger ensues, but so does opportunity and reward. They return to the land. Their nephew, Lot, who's been traveling with them, with his entourage, decides he'd rather not be in such close proximity to his uncle. Family issues, things like that. So the two of them go their separate way, and eventually Lot will settle in the town of Sodom, of great fame or infamy. And but then what happens next is a war. Really sort of one of those kind of tribal raid things that we would imagine with Native Americans and with ancient war tribes. So it's called the War of the Five Kings versus the Four Kings, but these guys are just local enforcers. Some of them gang up on the others. The city of Sodom is pillaged, and all of its inhabitants are taken as hostages, or more probably future slaves. And Abraham rallies together not only his own retainers, but also some local allies, and goes and rescues Lot and his family, and also liberates the other prisoners being held by this group, this gang of warlords. So this, by the way, is the ancient tradition of the Goel, which we'll see pop up again and again in the Hebrew Bible. The Goel is that person in the family whose obligation it is to be the redeemer, the avenger, the rescuer, the guy designated to pay bail in the family, whoever it is whose job it is to come to the assistance of other family members in trouble. We all know most families have someone like that, not necessarily going out and reclaiming a repossessed car or something like that, but people who will come to your assistance, or you will assist them. You will be the Goel in the family. Anyway, that was what Abraham is doing there. And then the last episode is a strange dreamlike sequence in which Abraham has a foreboding, foreshadowing dream in which he's told that his children, his descendants. Now, at this point, Abraham is childless. So already there's something going on there, that his descendants will be strangers in a strange land, to use the phrase, which is there entirely so that 3,000-4,000 years later, it can be used as the title of a science fiction novel. But actually, it's a famous invocation and a foreshadowing of the fact that we will be slaves in Egypt. And apparently, Abraham needs to know that. So that's where our Torah portion concludes. All right. Now, so what are the big ideas? First, the big idea is life is an adventure. And that's something we have to relearn all the time. What are you prepared to start? What new project are you willing to start at the age of 75? Abraham took a lot of risks at a very advanced age in a very ancient time in a world far less secure than the one we know today. So if he can do it, why can't we do it? Sarai maybe isn't directly inspired the way Abraham is, much as in the movie Annie, the wife is dragged along with Ray as Ray pursues his vision, but she's part of the story too. And Lot is also, because he chooses to go with his uncle into the strange new land. So that's an important idea. But the idea I'd really like to explore and have us consider as the main theme here is the idea of not only being blessed, isn't that a great experience, but being a blessing. Look, we live in Texas. We get blessed all the time. You're talking to a cashier and the cashier says, "Have a blessed day." And I know for some people that's irritating because it feels like it's religiously presumptuous, but I've come to think that it's pretty nice. It's nice to be blessed on a daily basis. So I don't complain about that at all. And of course, that is what we are told that God is doing for us, the descendants of Abraham. He blesses us. We are a blessed people. We got that going for us. On the other hand, it turns out that it seems that there's an obligation or an implied obligation that goes with being blessed. And that is, God says, "And your name shall be a blessing to all the world." How does one become a blessing to all the world? That puts us in a different category than most other people. And this is why I think being Jewish is so special. You know, whether you're Brazilian or a Rwandan or someone from Singapore, you exist. You don't have to justify your existence. There's no reason to have to explain yourself or to behave in a certain way. You're just alive, and we generally, as a world, agree you're entitled to be alive, and that could be us too. However, the Jewish people have taken on an additional notion, and that is the notion that we are going to be a blessing. Now, how does one become a blessing? The obvious way is to go around and every time you encounter someone, whether you're in Texas or abroad, saying, have a blessed day. But it seems pretty clear as Jewish tradition has developed, as our ethics have grown thicker and we've given more thought to the idea of what it means to be a Jew, being a blessing consists of more than just words. It consists of actions. And as a result, Judaism and Jews experience an expectation, feel an obligation to strive to be a blessing each and every day. And I would divide that into macro, tiny blessings, and reverse that, micro, tiny blessings, and macro, giant blessings or large blessings. The minor blessings are the blessings of being kind to people, treating them with respect, offering assistance as needed when you encounter someone in the street or in your home or at your work, et cetera, et cetera. The micro blessing. On the other hand, we also have a strong sense of macro blessing, that our actions have to have a larger impact. So we have this notion of tikkun olam, that we need to be doing things that improve the world around us in larger gestures than simply holding a door open or helping someone up after they've fallen. And that is a powerful part of the Jewish tradition. Of course, it's realized not only in words, but in actions and also in material gifts. We have tzedakah. A major part of Jewish identity is giving charity. And we even extend that notion to the notion of tikkun olam, making the world a better place. We get involved in larger projects, not just social service projects, but social justice projects, global projects. We give money not only to people we know or people in our communities, but we give money and assistance to people we have never met and never will meet. And that global perspective is pretty extraordinary. And I think we've pretty much passed that idea onto the world through our daughter religions. The idea that we have to work on a systemic level to make things better. That's how we become a blessing to the world, tikkun olam. And it all starts here in our Torah portion with this idea that it's not merely enough to exist. It's not enough to simply be. To be Jewish is to do. And if we're looking for a big idea in this Torah portion that has enormous ramifications, rippling down thousands of years from the time of our ancestors, Avram and Sarai, in just a portion or two, their names will be changed to Abraham and Sarah. This is it. Not only are we blessed, but we are called to be a blessing to all the world. So in the coming week, seek, look for, perform actions of kindness, gemilut chasadim, tzedakah, charity, and also imagine what you can be doing to leave the world a better place than when you entered it. So that's our Torah portion for this week. If you build it, it will happen. A better world.